Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, we want to thank all of our fans, our sponsors, our patrons. We appreciate all of your guys' support. Everyone that's bought us a cup of coffee, been greatly appreciated. We've had a rough couple of weeks here in the family, been out of work for a week and a half, coming up on 2 weeks thanks to our old friend COVID running through us. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time with the usual spiel, so all of you guys that are interested in what's going on with Sin City Living and what we plan on doing in the future with our live streams and upcoming events, please stick around to the end of the video or skip to the end of the video and watch. I will put most of that stuff in the ending spiel, and I will try and update it every week or two with more news. Otherwise, that being said, we're just going to go ahead and jump straight into today's video. So for today's video, I want to go back over something that we've gone over in the past a few times, but there still seems to be a lot of confusion on it. It's actually one of the more confusing bets out there, so we get a lot of people that ask questions about it fairly periodically, so every so often I like to retouch on this subject again, and it is the come bet. The come bet. The come bet tends to confuse players, especially new players, to a pretty high degree. Like I said, it could be a very confusing bet. And especially with the rules, I suppose, that go around it. If you can understand exactly what the come bet is, that will remove some of the confusion. So here is, I guess, the demystification of the come bet. So we know that a pass line bet is betting on the next roll of the dice. It's betting on the next point established. If a point is not established, one of these numbers, then it's a win-loss condition. Right? If it's not a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, then it's going to be a win or a loss condition for the pass line bet. 7 or 11 wins, 2, 3, or 12 loses. Doesn't end the turn. That shooter is still shooting. They have to have another pass line bet down, of course, but they're still trying to make a point. So that's why we always say the pass line bet is betting the next roll of the dice. So once a point is established, now the only thing that affects the pass line bet is the point that has been established for it, or a 7, correct? So what about a come bet? Once there is a point, players can go ahead and place a come bet out. So what exactly is a come bet? A come bet is betting on the next roll of the dice. Basically, what a come bet is, it's starting a brand new game. You can technically have 6 simultaneous games going because there's 6 points that can be established. So you could have 6 simultaneous games going. All the win-loss conditions remain the same. Nothing changes. A come bet, again, is just starting a new game. Think of the come bet, when it's in the come, think of that as if you were to have your pass line bet over there, and then if this were allowed, it's not, of course, but if you were to turn around to another table that had the point off and placed a new pass line bet. That's what a come bet is. It's as if you went to another table and started another game. So if a number rolls, that come bet is going to travel inside the number. Why does it travel inside the number? Because basically the bet itself is the puck. We only have one puck, and we're only going to mark one number, which is the one that's for the pass line bet. But any come bets that travel have their own number. They also have a number that would be marked. So instead, the bet itself is the puck. The bet is telling us what number is marked for that bet, for that pass line bet, because that's all a come bet is. It's a pass line bet. Now, you can go ahead and place odds, just like you would on your pass line. Since this area is a no-go, you never reach into this area. This is the dealer's cash register. You don't reach into it. You would just put the money out in the come, and you would tell the dealer, hey, that's odds for my 9. They would tell you, hey, put another $1 on there, make it even. And it would be offset slightly, right? It's capped off like that. The bottom is what we call the flat bet. Always pays even money. And then the rest is the odds, okay? Now, come bets are, again, just like pass line bets. So the odds pay the exact same. If the point were a 9, right? If this puck were marked on a 9, then that over there would pay blackjack back here, 3-2, and of course even money there. So if a 9 were to roll again, then this $10 bet plus the 16 in odds, right? This right here would pay $34. 16 pays you 24, plus the $10 in flat bet. It would pay you 34 bucks. Now, you could always have another come bet out. Certainly allowed. And you can have as many travel as there are points. Okay, you could have another one out, that one travels here, right? And so on and so forth. It can just continue going. Now, what happens if you get a repeater? Well, let's say, well, I don't know. Let's go ahead and use the 6. Let's say it's 6 rolls. Okay, now you have a come bet out in the come, and you have a come bet that is winning. So this right here, 15 pays you 18 plus 10 is 28 for your flat bet, right? So you're going to get paid $28, but because you have a come bet and they're identical, the odds do not matter, only the flat bet. If these have identical flat bets, we actually don't touch this bet. We just put your money out. It's called off and on. We'll say off and on for $28. And that would be the technical. Very rarely do the dealers actually say it once they've been dealing for a while, but at a break-in house, that's exactly how it would work. We would cut it out, go off and on for $28. And that's it. And then you would pick up your money and continue on. And the game continues. So what about if the point rolls? Okay. Well, if the point rolls, 8 rolls, we know this wins, and coincidentally that also happens to win $28 total, so we'll go ahead and total it, pay it right there. So after that's paid, this come bet travels onto the 8. And this point is now off. Now, this is one of the spots that tends to confuse players that play the come bets. When the point is off, the puck is saying, when this says off, what it's saying is anything up here that can be turned off is turned off. Flat bets can never be turned off. Ever, 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 ever. Because you got to remember, these are a pass line bet with a point marked. Right? You can never pick up your pass line bet once there's a point. Decision has to be made, win or lose. So the flat bets cannot be turned off. But odds can always be picked up or turned off. So right now, all the odds are off, unless you ask for them to be on. So if a 7 were to roll, you would win up there. Every one of these would lose, but you would receive your odds back because the odds, again, are off, unless you choose to have them working. What that also means is, let's say the 6 rolls, right? So the 6 now rolls. Well, this just had a decision made. It won. However, you get paid your flat bet, not your odds, because they were off. We're not going to pay you on something that we would have returned if it lost. It's either working or it's not. So it's not working, so you only get paid your flat bet, and that is it. If you bet come bets, you need to pay attention, because they're paid out here, and then they are left. This is a self-service betting area, and it is where we pay and then leave it alone. It is your responsibility to pick up your money. So it's your responsibility to pay attention. One of the challenging things for craps, especially for people that are partying, having a good time, and are very, very casual players or brand new players, is that craps requires you to really pay attention to the game. If you're talking, distracted, on your phone, checking your text, talking to your wife behind you, you miss things. We see people all the time leave their field bets in the field. We try and warn them multiple times. They don't listen. Next thing is a no field. They lose what they had just won. So they basically doubled their bet. They let it ride. The reason they did that is because they weren't paying attention. Same thing on winner 7s, winner 11s on come-out rolls. People will leave the money sitting there on the pass line, and we'll warn them 3 or 4 times. All goes on the line. Pick up your money. They're not paying attention. Dice go out. It's too late. You cannot pick it up at this point. You just doubled your bet. Same thing. Come bets, you leave it out there. It is all one come bet after that. Now, we're very, very, very rarely going to move the dice when there's a come bet out there, but we are going to get louder and louder and louder and embarrass the player in front of the entire table if they're not paying attention until they pick up their money and get it out of the way. So you got to pay attention. Got to pay attention to those bets. So I hope this clarifies any questions that may be out there on come bets. Hope you guys find this interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least just plain fun. We thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now. Okay, everybody, and as promised, all the usual blah blah that I try and do at the beginning of the video, we're going to go ahead and put near the end of the video. And here we go. So thank you, everybody, for your usual patronage, all of you that are patrons of ours. We very, very much appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who's been buying us a cup of coffee. Love to say it's going to coffee right now, but this month with the entire family out for COVID, it's honestly going to Bill's and probably the kid's birthday in a week. But we definitely appreciate it. We're going to continue working on these live streams. I know you guys have seen some of them popping up. Just got to figure out the look of it, and some of the audio is still giving me issues. But hopefully we'll be getting those live streams and the craps tournaments going as soon as possible. Really just going to depend on scheduling. My schedule changed, Amy's schedule changed, kids' school schedule is fun. So once we figure out exactly how all those schedules are going to work, we'll let everybody know. And otherwise, please continue emailing us with anything you would like to see videoed. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.